So, you guys want to know who currently are the top 10 best basketball players around the world? Not including America. You guys are still the best. Relax. Well, look no further, because on this episode, I'm going to give you guys a run through of my top 10 basketball players who have yet to make their NBA debut. The way I went about filtering and making up my list of 10 best was taking the prospects that had been drafted in previous draft picks but had not yet played one NBA game. I took the prospects from this year's draft, and I took the prospects who will most certainly make next year's draft. Those were my 3 criteria to make up this list. And in case you didn't know by now, my name is Diego. This is D-Spot reporting for TYTSports. And on my channel, I talk about the best of Spanish football action and shed a light, just like this one here, on the international NBA players. So guys, let's get right into it. So starting off at number 10 is the man from the Ukraine. You guys will know him a lot better than me because he plays for Kansas at the moment. He has the very pronounceable name of Sviatoslav Mykailiuk, okay? He is picked by Draft Express to go on the 29th position in the first round in the 2018 draft. And why is he on my top 10 list already? Well, simply because of the fact that already in 2014 here in Europe, a lot of big European teams that were very disappointed when he made the decision to already make a jump over to the US. Already here at the early age of 16, he was known for his physique, his physical build, his athleticism, and his ability to play above the rim. He also was very explosive, and all of those things combined, again, what I mentioned before, his three-point making ability reminded a lot of the scouts here, a lot of the newspapers, of a young Manu Ginobili. So you can just imagine the hype that he was creating over here in Europe. Now, at number 9 on my list, I have somebody who you're probably less familiar with. He goes by the name of Rodions Kurucs, and he currently plays for Football Club Barcelona. This kid, he is from Latvia, and Draft Express has him going 20th in the next year's 2018 draft. The first thing that'll strike you is that he's built with a great physique. This physical attribute allows him to be effective both on the scoring and the rebounding end. He has also shown to have a great understanding of the game, a great basketball IQ, which is why a lot of recruiters urged him to become an early draft entry. Luckily for us, for Barca, he decided to stay another year. That said, remember the name for next year's draft pick, Rodions Kurucs. He will go high, in my opinion, if he stays healthy. And moving on swiftly to number 8. Again, a name that you guys in the US will probably be more familiar with. He played at UCLA for a year and then moved over to Serbia, where he was until now playing for FMP Belgrade. I'm talking about the Australian Jonah Bolden. This Aussie was picked in this year's draft pick in round 2 at the 36th spot. He was picked by Philadelphia, which of course will mean that he will be a teammate of Ben Simmons, meaning there'll be 2 Aussies on the Philly team, so they can get around and crack a couple of cans and do all those nice things, you know. My Aussie accent is flawless. In any case, he has a very consistent jump shot. He is very strong at the rebounding end of the game, and due to his sheer size, it allows him to defend both on the 3 and the 4 position, meaning of course that he is a very versatile player. Alright, already down to number 7, and at number 7 we have another Latvian native, Anzejs Pasecniks. Plays for Gran Canaria, despite the fact that this guy has been already picked at the 25th position, also by the Philadelphia 76ers. However, he wisely decided to stay one more year over here in the ACB to continue his player development and of course rack up those also important playing minutes that he would see limited heavily if he would have already made the jump into the NBA. The first thing that'll strike you is that he's a very, very big guy. This is a big fella, okay? He stands at 2 meters 18, which for the US audience not familiar with the metric system is 7'2".
Big fella.
However, what is interesting to see is that you'll see that the NBA teams are heavily favoring big guys that can shoot the 3. Anzejs in this case is no different. At his tall height, he is a very limber player in the sense that he can shoot the 3. He has very nice ball handling skills, a consistent jump shot from the perimeter, and in fact, surprisingly, if anything, his post game is his weakest aspect. So what I expect him to do is this year to really focus on muscle development, getting him ready for a much more physical game that he will enter into next year when he will finally join the NBA. At number 6, guys, I have put Frank Ntilikina. For all of you New Yorkers out there, all of you Knicks fans, of course, you'll be well aware of your draft pick at this point. This Belgian-born point guard was chosen at the 8th spot by the Knicks in this year's draft. He is one of the most exciting, yet at the same time most fragile players that I have in my top 10 list. At 18 years of age, he has been impressing scouts with the way he is able to read the game. Currently out with a bruised knee, the tall point guard will want to start building his muscle mass if he wants to take advantage of his uniquely long wingspan and live up to both his defensive and offensive potential. This kid has proven he can be lethal from three-point land, such as the incredible semi-final in the Under-18 Euro Championships, where his 31 points and 7 three-pointers no less led his team to the final that year. Guys, already at the top 5, and at the 5 spot, I couldn't pick anybody else, of course, than Lauri Markkanen. Lauri, from Finland, of course, has played at this point many years over in the US, where he's been playing all this time for Arizona. He was picked at the 7th spot by the Minnesota Timberwolves. However, by now, of course, he has been traded to the Chicago Bulls. A funny little anecdote I wanted to quickly mention about the Markkanen family. Very athletic family. In fact, he has a younger brother who has been playing with Real Madrid Castilla, I should say, the young Real Madrid, the Real Madrid B team. Again, as I mentioned before, a repetitive theme that you'll see amongst all of these players is size and quality jump shot. Lauri, in that sense, is no different. You're talking about a big guy with a good, consistent jump shot. This young fella impressed in the US early on in his years already with his skills and dominance on the offensive end. On the flip side, however, his defensive aspect of the game is of serious concern. Also, Lauri is very easily beaten off the dribble, as well as being physically overpowered in the post and on the rebounding end. Alright guys, now it's really starting to get interesting. Things are starting to heat up. We're at number 4, and at the 4th spot, from the beautiful country of Serbia, where they have some of the most amazing, beautiful women in the world. Completely unrelated fact, but that doesn't make it any less true. We have Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogdan is currently playing for Fenerbahce. However, many of you will probably remember that he was picked at the 27th spot in the 2014 draft pick. This guy is an excellent example of a player taking his time, focusing on his player development and getting those crucial minutes at an elite level back here in Europe to then finally make the jump to the best basketball league in the world, in the NBA. And in fact, Bogdan is a very interesting case because everything points that he will now become the highest paid rookie in history. He's ready to sign a contract with the Sacramento Kings for $36 million for 3 years. At the ripe age of 25, having had a good time to develop his game over here in the old continent, allowing him to even earn the MVP of this season of the Turkish League, I think right now it is the best time for him to make the leap into the NBA. I personally feel that his game is perfectly adaptable to the NBA, where he will have to guard both guards and small forwards. And although not always making the best decision on the offensive end, he's a decent ISO player going both left and right with a fairly consistent jump shot from the perimeter. Guys, top three, and I am very curious to see your comments for my 3rd pick because I'm expecting a lot of hate. I'm expecting a lot of the people to go, what do you think? What are you talking about? How can this guy be in your top 3? This guy's done with. No sir, not for me. In fact, I think it's the most exciting time for one of my favorite players to finally make the leap into the NBA, and it all points that he will join the Clippers. I'm talking, of course, about the European legend Milos Teodosic. The Serbian, still currently under contract with CSKA Moscow, is linked heavily with the Clippers, and all arrows point that this is the year that he will finally make the jump into the league. Now, why can I accept that this is a controversial pick? At the number 3 spot, well, his age. He is 30, of course. He is right now peak, and in the fast-paced games such as the NBA, I'm very curious to see how his game will adapt. Nonetheless, for those of you who don't know him, I urge you to go on YouTube right now and Google Milos Teodosic, because what you will see will remind you of, say, a white chocolate adjacent kid in his prime. This guy, you talk about a creative passer, this guy is up there with the best of them. One of the highest basketball IQs I have seen because of his explosiveness, because of his creativity when it comes to passing the ball, and also because of his ability to make clutch 3 points deep into Curry land. This guy has been terrorizing the world basketball scene for years, earning him accolades literally everywhere he went for both club and country. And as mentioned, after years of resisting a move to the NBA, despite being heavily recruited, it seems that now finally is the time. My light just went off. Fuck's sake. Alright guys, and now down to the final two. And for this pick, I expect almost just as much controversy as was probably generated with my third pick in Milos, because at the second spot, I have nobody else but the best Spanish player to have yet to play in the NBA, namely Sergio Llull.
Please pronounce it Llull, not Lol. It's double L. In Spanish is pronounced Llull. Good, there you go. Alright.
Now guaranteed, especially if you're a Rockets fan, you have heard of this guy for many years. That's because he was drafted in 2009 at the 34th spot by the Denver Nuggets, who sold his rights to the Houston Rockets. And what have the Houston Rockets done since then? They have held tight to his rights, and every year Daryl Morey of the Houston Rockets flies over to Spain, tries to convince him to make the switch over to the NBA. But until now, Sergio Llull is staying put right here in Spain over in Madrid. Why? Because he's tearing it up. He was voted MVP of the EuroLeague just last year. He has been winning personal accolades as well as team accolades. He's a star player on the squad, and he can only be characterized as the engine, the Energizer Bunny of Real Madrid, as well as the Spanish national team. He is a tireless defender, tireless offensive threat. He's got incredible ball handling skills and has a lethal three-point shot. Now yes, he can be very streaky, however when he's on fire, there's absolutely no stopping him. So much so that you can often see him pull up the most incredible, crazy trick shots that will find the bottom of the net.
3 segundos 9 décimas, volverá a sacar de banda Luke Sigma. Encontrando a Antoine Diot en bomba, canasta de Antoine Diot, el lanzamiento de Llull, dentro la canasta de Sergio Llull, estratosférico lo que acaba de hacer el escolta del Real Madrid, impresionante.
And thanks to his tireless efforts, the Spanish national team and Real Madrid have managed to continue to cement their names amongst the basketball elite of the world. As I mentioned, Daryl Morey makes an annual trip over to Madrid to convince him to come and join the Rockets, and he himself recently was quoted saying, "I cannot believe the offers that this guy is rejecting. However, I think a move is imminent and it will happen next year. Let's see what happens." But for now, Sergio Llull, number 2. So who's number what? Number one. Who will it be? Who can it be? It can really be nobody else but Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic from Slovenia, who plays for Real Madrid. He's been playing there for many years at the youth team. Last year made the jump into the first squad, and he only just now turned 18. This kid is a phenomenon, the likes we over here in Europe have never seen before. Luka Doncic will be most likely, if not the number 1, at least a number 2 pick in the draft next season. However, don't take my word for it. Just have a look at what American recruiters are saying that he is the most exciting prospect ever. Others saying that he's the most incredible prospect since LeBron James. And the comparisons are totally legit, and here's why. This kid is doing unprecedented things on the basketball court at the young age of 18. At 6'8", he has the physical build to finish strong at the rim. He can dunk over people. He's able to work the post. However, at the same time, he has shown to have the most delicate of touches, as well as proven to be lethal, absolutely lethal, from three-point land at a consistency that is only that of a superstar. Now, Jason, I seem to remember you challenging your viewers, challenging us to come up with a better step back than the one that you pointed out of Kemba Walker in the Big East tournament. Well, I see your Kemba Walker step back, and I raise you a Luka Doncic step back. One-legged step back from the three-point line, a contested shot with the shot clock winding down. Just have a look at this and appreciate the skill and the talent of this young kid. Unfortunately, there's really not enough time, nor do I probably have the rights to show you guys accurately just where and how this boy excels over his competition. And it's simply because of the fact that there's really literally nothing he cannot do. He's got the physical strength that somebody like Ricky Rubio never had. However, he has that passing ability, that same court vision of a Ricky Rubio. So add to that strength and height and an incredible ease at scoring, and you've got somebody the likes of LeBron James. I think the comparison is completely justified in this case. It is my hope that he maybe manages to have a chat with LeBron James, because I would love for LeBron James to pass on the wisdom and his learnings. That's right, he might as well learn from the best, because this kid really is just that. The best.
He's the best. I love it.
The best international prospect coming to a stadium near you soon. Or well, sort of soon. In a year's time, more or less. So guys, that is it. There you have it. That was my top 10 of best international basketball prospects who have yet to play in the NBA and will do either this year or next year. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe to my channel over at TYTSports, where I give you guys a lot more insights on the international basketball scene, as well as the best of the Spanish football action. Guys, my name is Diego. This is TYTSports reporting for TYTSports. I hope to see you again soon. Hasta la próxima.